I just want to kick things off a little bit with like a quick fire round, and it can be very short. There are three questions, very short. Just go with your gut answers. So the first question that I have, and then we can of course expand later on. How long did it take for you to get your first result?
A week.
Amazing. How many hours a week do you actually spend on LinkedIn right now?
6 to 10.
Amazing. And would you recommend the program to a friend? Yes or no?
I have done that already, yes.
Amazing. Cool. What is something that happened in the program that made you think, damn, this actually is working?
Positioning is one of the biggest parts. Do you want a short or a long answer for those ones?
We can go in depth right now. We tackled the quick three.
Okay, sure. So I think positioning is a big one. I have a long career in marketing, and I've been working in positioning for other brands for my entire professional career. But since my business is very much related to my personality and my character and my values, it was so much harder for myself to really position myself in the way that felt true to me, that resonated with me, that felt intrinsically right. And I was struggling with that for months before joining your program. And essentially, you forced me to niche down, to position myself to one specific target group only, and to clarify my offer or to sharpen my offer quite a lot. And I think that was for me maybe the biggest leverage that I've had. Yeah.
Nice positioning, straight from the start, getting super clear on who you actually help. And it's what you mentioned a lot, right? In terms of like finding ways to be authentic to your tone of voice.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially I work as a purpose coach. I help people find their purpose. I help people get career clarity, and I help people create lifestyles of their dreams. And in order to do that, I have to be crystal clear on how I live and who I want to help, right? And be very, very straight with my offer and with what I can help people with. And before it was more fuzzy. I was helping different types of people with different types of things. It was much more broad, and then I've decided to really position myself much more sharply, and that has helped me a lot in terms of how I communicate my offer, how I think about my job, how I think about how my product has also changed in the meantime, I'd say, and how I stand up in discovery calls with clients. Because it's much easier for me to say yes or say no to a client. It's easier to communicate what I can offer, what I can guarantee, and what people walk away with when doing my program. And I think that's very valuable.
I love that, man. And you briefly touched upon the point that you say you have a big background in marketing. But what was going on in your business? I think it's like 4 months ago since we started working together. But what was the moment that you said like, okay, now is the time. I do need help with my marketing and my LinkedIn game.
Yeah. So apparently that happens to a lot of coaches, is that in the first couple months, they can just feed off their network and they get leads from their network and they get referrals and word of mouth and so on and so forth. And it was the same for me. It took me exactly like 6 months where I was like actually even booked out just from referrals and word of mouth and connections through my network. But that came to a very sudden stop eventually, where literally I kind of had depleted my network. And yeah, that's then when I wanted to create like a lead acquisition system that was more plannable, that was more sustainable for the future, especially. And then I was looking for a coach to help me do that on LinkedIn. I personally didn't or decided against Instagram or against other social media platforms because I simply don't like using them and I don't feel good when using them. And for me, it's all about following what excites me. And LinkedIn was always a platform that I could relate to much better. I feel it's much more professional. I don't have to share that much about my personal life, which I also don't want to do that much. And on Instagram, I feel like I have to do that more. And so LinkedIn was my platform of choice. But I was using LinkedIn already at that time for at least like 6 months, specifically on, making this business work, but I wasn't getting any leads from it essentially. And frustrated by that, I looked for a coach, found you, and got results very quickly.
I love that, man. Could you expand a little bit more about some of the things you were trying before? Like you said, you tested or put effort in LinkedIn for 6 months. What were some of the day-to-days that you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was posting fairly consistently, I'd say. I was adding people to my network, but now in hindsight, I realized that I wasn't posting the right things. I was not adding the right people to my network. And because my positioning wasn't sharp enough, I was just, adding too many people into my network and also talking about too many topics that then probably weren't resonating with the people who were being in my network, right? Like I'm a multiple times founder. I had a couple of businesses before this, so I have a big network of founders on my LinkedIn, but those are not my target group for my business now. Essentially, when I started to actually add the kind of people to my network that are within my target group and then also speak to them with my content, things started to shift fairly quickly. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So it sounds like you were doing a lot of like busy work.
Yeah, but it was distracted work. It was like, it wasn't focused. I was all over the place. I was helping I was focused on like 3-4 different target groups because my program works for a lot of kind of different people, because clarity is something that a lot of people want and need in their lives. But yeah, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. And that was a tough realization that I had to take.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's good. Besides the positioning, what are some of the, I would say, other perhaps 2-3 core elements that you now significantly do different and does better?
Yeah. I think coaching or mentoring is always lots about accountability, right? And I offer accountability to my clients, but I also needed accountability for myself. And I have an accountability partner for, life and business in general, but what you gave me was an accountability counterpart mirror for LinkedIn and lead acquisition specifically, right? And when going through your system, there is a couple steps that you have to take, and you can't get further through the program if you actually don't take those steps and get them like feedback by you or seen by you. And that really helps you to take those steps, to follow through, to kind of stop fishing in the dark and just like have a step-by-step system that you can follow through. And I think that's super valuable. And my program works exactly the same way, but I didn't have that for this kind of challenge that I had in my life. So the accountability part is a huge one. Plus, of course, in a process like that I would say takes or can like usually takes months until you actually master it. It's so valuable to, be in those calls with you like twice a week and actually being able to ask all my questions, because these questions keep coming up and they're always very individual, let's say per post or per situation that you encounter. And then having your expertise and feedback is so valuable to like slowly but surely adapt this method and learn again and again. Plus, you obviously also learn from the issues or challenges that other people in the program have, because they're in very similar situations. It's a very homogeneous group, and that helps a ton. So yeah, like those 2 weekly calls with you, they're kind of in my non-negotiable calendar. I block my calendar for those calls because I always get a ton of value from them, and I'm able to slowly but surely refine my method and my strategy and my approach to things. And yeah, it's just good to have like a counterpart that first of all knows very much about the platform. Plus, since you have such a big reach, you can experiment with things and then like give them on to your clients in the program, which is amazing. Because obviously, if you have less followers, you can't experience like the data that you get from experiments is not as valuable as it would be for you, for example, with like whatever 60K plus followers. So that's really cool. And since it's your main job to like be on LinkedIn and work on LinkedIn, that's not my core job, right? My core job is like coaching people in a very different direction. Having you as the expert helping me and giving us all this information is so valuable, because I don't have to figure it out by myself. I don't have to experiment, and I don't have to dig for the information elsewhere.
You just have to show up, execute, and ask for feedback, right?
Exactly. And I mean, I think I'm a proof that if you show up and you do the work, it does pay off, and the system is executed the right way. It works.
Love that, man. That's such good news. And so let's talk about like specific results a bit. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about the clients you brought on board in your program since we started working together?
Yeah, sure. So what has changed dramatically after this positioning shift and the content shift, and also my kind of when I sharpened my offering, is that I'm attracting higher ticket clients that are older than before, right? So before I was working a lot with people my age, obviously because they came from my network, right? But those people are usually not the kind of people that can afford a high ticket coaching program such as mine. So since I started the program with you, I've been attracting older clients that are able to afford this program and see the value in a high ticket offer like mine. And that has been super valuable, not only because they're older, but they're also more senior in their career, right? So I've been now working with lots of people in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s. I just signed 2 clients in their 60s, which is amazing. And I've never had this before, because I'm basically not helping them to kickstart their professional career or to like start a business in their 30s, but I'm actually helping them to create a plan for their retirement, which is also so exciting for me, right? Like I can really help them to make sure they don't regret not having done certain things in their lives, preparing them kind of for this like slow phasing out of a corporate career in their 60s, starting their pension, but actually like not, starting their pension without having anything to do or without any purpose. And then, and that happens to so many people that they become, they start their pension and then they lose their purpose because they have nothing else to do because they've been working all their lives, right? So I'm helping these kind of people. And this is also really like a dream come true for me, that I can help older people as well to to really change their lives around at such a old age, right? And that's so impactful and so powerful, and that fulfills me a lot as well. So that's really cool. And so that's the age thing and the positioning thing that kind of led to that. And then obviously for me, what I have now, I have a fairly consistent system of leads coming in, of sales calls. The more sales calls I have or discovery calls I have, the better I get at doing them. The more I sharpen my offer, the better I know whether a client is right for me or not, whether I can help a client or not. And yeah, obviously signed a bunch of clients since I started the program with you. And again, a very different sort of clients, exactly the kind of clients that I wanted to attract. So that I think is maybe the biggest outcome from working with you. Yeah,
That's cool, man. I love that what you said in terms of the like dream coming true in terms of the ideal client you now end up working with.
exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Do you mind sharing like a ballpark range of how many clients you brought on?
I think since I started working with you, which is now I think since 3-4 months or something, I've closed around 6 clients coming through the system of the program.
Nice. That's amazing, man. I love that. Yeah, and like I said, it's not just the number of clients, but also such a better fit to how you see yourself growing the business, like the direction you're taking, and slowly carving out this position in the market, right? Knowing that the more ideal clients you work with, the more you get this flywheel of like they have referrals, you give them great results, and then it just starts compounding, right? I really believe that you're now in that situation.
Precisely. And I'm just at the beginning, right? So I've only been in the program for 3 months, and I haven't like run through it. Like I'm taking it pretty easy, and I think I'm only like halfway through at this point. So there's still lots more to learn and lots more to execute. But yeah, again, I'm realizing that obviously it is compounding, and I'm realizing that also through your feedback and through all the information in the program, I've really found my voice much better, right? And I think this is really what it is on LinkedIn that you have to master, and that it's a process that I'm aware that it takes a lot of time and that goes through experiments and through phases, is that you really understand what is it that you want to talk about, what is the change or the impact you want to see in the world, how do you want to position your business to enable that, right? Because my goal is not to make more money. My goal is to help more people, right? Because I'm so sure that my program works super, super well. And I have the proof, and I know that it helps the people that I've helped so far a lot, right? So I want to help more people. So how do I get my vision and my anti-vision, because my anti-vision is a big part of what I do, how do I get that in front of more people? And there's always, and I think this is an interesting thing about LinkedIn or social media in general, is that you, on the one hand, you want to be polarizing. And in my case, for example, I'm criticizing a status quo, right? I'm criticizing the status quo that most people live for the weekend, live on autopilot, don't work on what fulfills them. But what really works on social media is viral, generic stuff that is simple to understand, right? So here I am on the spectrum of wanting to create polarizing, deep intellectual content, but that has to also become viral in order to bring it in front of more eyeballs, right? And finding that middle way of making sure that you reach more people whilst not diluting the message that you want to bring out to the world. This was super difficult for me at the beginning, and through your program, it became much easier and much more obvious on what I have to do, even though I'm not there yet.
I love that, man. Just really figuring out like tweaking the machine, right? Like a little bit of this, a little bit of polarization, a little bit of virality, and then you end up in like the sweet spot with your tone of voice. As you said in the beginning of this conversation as well, it's like for you, it's very important to express yourself authentically, knowing that it will bring in the right people, right?
Exactly. Because I'm not looking for virality. Like I don't care if I get 100,000 likes on a piece of content that has nothing to do with the anti-vision or the vision that I want to push. Yeah. So it does, like, engagement doesn't matter that much as long as the post gets in front of your ICP, in front of your target group.
Yeah.
But it actually books you calls, right? Because that's what we want. Like I want more people to book calls with me, and then eventually, if it fits, work with me.
Yeah.
But I don't care if I have hundreds of thousands of followers that don't share my vision or the impact that I want to bring into the world.
Yeah, I love that, man. And in that sense, like the content definitely becomes like the filter to attract like-minded people. I love
100%. It's the content in combination, I guess, with the positioning on your profile. Because at the end of the day, of course, like you add people to your network, and if whatever you write on your profile resonates with them, they're gonna book a call or not, or maybe check out the content and then book a call or whatever, follow you, and eventually down the line book a call.
For sure.
So it's a combination for sure, definitely. Yeah.
Nice. Do you think there is one more intangible shift you've made since joining? And with that, I mean, is there like a certain belief or a certain paradigm that you had before that has completely or perhaps partially changed in the last 3 to 4 months?
Yes, I think one of the most important things is that on the internet, on social media, lots of people are trying to sell to you, right? And we getting sold to, we're selling to, and at the end of the day, people are being well, nowadays in our society, people are getting bombarded with marketing messages throughout their entire day, no matter where they are, no matter whether they're driving in their car on the street, listening to the radio, scrolling on LinkedIn, whatever it is, they get bombarded with marketing messages. And the right message at the right time to the right person can change their lives. And instead of thinking that you're just annoying another person by sending a direct message, or actually, shifting your belief in terms of if the right message reaches the right person at the right time, you can actually change a life for the better. And when people don't reply to you, it's not usually, it can be because they're not interested, sure, and they can ghost you. But a lot of people don't reply because they're busy, because they're overwhelmed, because they have a million things on their plates. So, for example, I have one client that I'm helping with now, and we are creating incredible shifts. And I think he replied to my fourth message. And before that, I thought it was super cringe to keep following up with people. Now I do that because I know, it's the same with me. Like if someone follows up with me 4 times and has actually a message that's resonating, yeah, eventually I'll get back to you. Right. So this has been a big one, I think. And it's easy to project it onto yourself and be like my ego is hurt now because that person hasn't replied to me or whatever. But it's never about yourself. It's always about the other person. It's always behavior is always about the other person. It's never about yourself, right? So that was a big learning.
I love that, man. Like the transition from selling to serving.
100%.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that, man.
And the more honest you become with your offer, and the more you love what your product does, the easier it is for you to actually serve people instead of selling people, right? Because if you don't believe into something, you'll have to sell it. And that's why there's so many sleazy salesmen selling shitty products for companies that they're employed by. Whereas what we're doing, right, is we're selling something that we've created ourselves and that we deeply believe in because we know it works and we've seen the results. Exactly. And we know that it actually helps people to live a better life.
Exactly, right. And that's the nuance. Like you and I, we both have programs that actual work, and not because we think it is. Like, no, we have the data to back it up. Like we have dozens of case studies, client results, like just people just backing up the claim. And that makes it also easier for you and I just to say like, hey, I can help you solve this problem. And it's up to you, like, hey, do you want to take the leap? Yes or no? Like, as we talked in the beginning of this conversation, at some point you had this tipping point. It's like, I can try to keep turning my wheels and just quote unquote exhaust myself, or figure out someone that has walked the path already and can help me guide the process. So then it becomes way less of me trying to convince you. I'm like, hey, Julius, I think I can help you go from A to B. Are you ready or are you not ready? And then it's kind of, like you said, it becomes more like serving, consulting. And then I think a nuance that you made is very important. It's like the follow-up is not cringy because, as you said, 99.9% people are just busy. Like LinkedIn inbox, email inboxes, whatever inbox, it's absolutely bombarded. So the most chance of people just like wrong time, wrong moment.
Exactly.
Nice, man. I love that. Any other, I would say, belief shifts or mental change you've made based on like lead gen marketing?
Good questions. What's the longer I'm in the game and the deeper I go into it, the more I realize, of course, that what I do and what you do, there's obviously a lot of people who do something similar. And standing out, I always thought I have to stand out much more. Let's say I'm in the general bubble of career and life coaching, right? And there's a lot of people who are in this bubble, but everybody has a different nuance and works in a different way. And sure, you can focus on what makes you different, what makes you better, whatever, what works. But at the end of the day, I think a good coach or a good mentor is someone who just fits you personally. So I sometimes make this metaphor or this comparison with buying a sports shoe. If you go to the store, there's hundreds of running shoes, right? And then first I go, okay, do I want to do running or trail running, or is it ultra marathon, or do I need a shoe for the gym or whatever, right? So you make that first choice. Then you go, okay, check out all the brands, you check out all the colors. Then you pick 3 and then you wear them and then you go for a little run with them and see how they feel, which is then kind of the equivalent to a discovery call with the coach, right? Once you go through that process. And taking a buying decision and then actually going to run with that shoe depends a lot on all of those factors, right? Depends on what's your goal, what does the brand look like, what are the let's say the technicalities of the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And how does it feel like when you're running with them, and how do you feel personally working with that tool? And I think it's very similar with coaches, and that gives me a lot more trust in myself and patience in my process, because I'm not chasing to sign 100 clients tomorrow. I want to chase, like, I want to, my only job is to find the right clients that I want to work with and that want to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm spending so much time with my clients. I don't want to work with people that annoy me. I don't want to work with people that don't share my values, for example. I want to spend my time working with people who inspire me, who I can also learn from, who I can help, and who I have a good relationship with. And I think this kind of thought process has shifted a lot in terms of taking pressure off myself, and just, if I'm talking to someone, it's not a fit, it's not a fit. That's
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. It has nothing to do with me or that person. It's just that it's not a match, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, man, I love that. That's definitely like tying back into like the whole surfing/selling concept. And it makes things like down the line way easier, way more fulfilling and joyful, right? As you said, like delivering great results with people you enjoy working with is 100 times easier than trying to get someone to do something that there's like an energetical like mismatch, or just like a personality mismatch.
Exactly. And like when I was looking for a LinkedIn coach or a sales coach in that case, I also had a bunch of discovery calls, and there were a lot of people out there who I was just either didn't like the method, or I didn't like their vibe, or I was like, fuck, I can't look at hundreds of hours of videos of that person, because I don't know, like I can't deal with the way they speak or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's so many tiny decision making points that eventually like make you take a decision, especially if it's a high ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you're actually going to follow through, and that the money is well invested, and you want to feel like good with that decision. That's the same when I choose a coach, and that's the same when people choose me as a coach.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes so much sense, because that makes the process so much easier, so much more effective. And in the end, that's what we do, right? Like, sure, we want to have a good time, but in the end, we care most about the transformation that we go through.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you actually adapt this kind of mindset, the easier it becomes for yourself to be 100% authentic, and to not put on a mask, and to not like change yourself just because you want to close that client or whatever, right? But you just, like in our case, you can just be 100% yourself. And if people like it and work with it, great. And if not, fine, also
Yeah,
good. Because then I don't work with people that don't vibe with me, and people don't have to work with me because they don't vibe with me, and that's totally fine.
100%, man. And that's what I said earlier in terms of like our content is the magnet we put out to attract like-minded people, especially in our container, but also I know in your program you spend quite a lot of time one-on-one. So the content is literally like the filter. It's like, hey, if you like this vibe, the chances that you like the one-on-one container is also. But if you're already with the content or like cringe, which can be nothing personal, but then it's gonna be a hard freaking time to spend time together and be receptive, because otherwise it was like this
Exactly.
resistance. People like, okay, no, I'm tuning out.
Exactly. And that also ties back directly to what I said earlier, and like creating like content that feels authentic to yourself, without having like to change yourself or to like adapt too much to what everybody else is doing. Because eventually it's not going to attract the kind of people that you want to work with and you want to spend so much time with. I spend a lot of time with my clients, so I want to make sure that we get along, because otherwise it's going to be a pain for me, and I don't want to. I don't care if I make money whilst feeling like shit. I'm not
Exactly.
going to do that,
That's
right?
not why I started a business.
No, exactly. Like I started this business because I want to work with people that I like and help them reach their goals. Yeah, that's why like it's so important to like find your voice that you feel comfortable putting out there, and that hopefully in the best case attracts the kind of people that you want to work with.
Yeah, nice, man. So if you would look back to, let's say, your past self 12 months ago, if that person could see how you're operating right now on like a marketing or like a lead acquisition standpoint, what would you think surprised them the most?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm someone who starts things like very naively. Like if I have an idea, I just like go through it, and I don't like overthink, what's next. Like I just start with it if it feels right. And I've done the same with this work. Back then, one of my very like usually how I approach projects when I start a new business is always the same way. I start with a pitch essentially, or a positioning and an offer. And when I did that at the beginning of this journey, I was struggling so much to put it, as I said earlier, since it was connected to my personality and since it was really so much connected to my own purpose, I was really struggling to put it into words and to create a clear and concise communication around it. And I think this is like, I've gotten really far with it. I'm very proud of where I've become, of where I came to in terms of how I position my product, who I talk to, and how I communicate it, and how crystal clear now I can articulate what I'm doing and the results that come out of it. And I think that's a process of, obviously doing it and then having the clients talk about it and then listening to what the clients get out of it, right? And whilst, of course, building and improving and adapting it and taking feedback into account and so on and so forth. But I think, again, the positioning and the communication and how I'm able to talk about it whilst it ties in to my identity, to my character, to the change and impact I want to see in the world. This has become crystal clear now, and I think this is the biggest transition from a year ago. Yeah, for sure.
I love that, man. That's such big unlocks, and that stretches, I would say, further ahead of this program, right? Like you're now just building this foundation of like brand identity, just like this positioning, just really carving it out. And the more clients you sign, which I know on your page, it's just like that's expanding, like accelerating, the better fit they will be. And it just becomes this massive flywheel. Like you start sharpening in the content, better clients, more results, just this flywheel that you're now on. So yeah, I'm super stoked to hear that, man. That's amazing work.
Yeah. And I'm like, I always used to say that I'm an impatient person. Now I'm saying I'm practicing patience. But the good thing with your program is that it just brings results so quickly. Like if I would have had to go through a program and then after 3 months I'm seeing the first result, I don't know if I would have gone through with it, just simply because like I'm just someone who wants to work fast and see results quick. And again, like after you've actually forced me to niche down and to like work on my positioning, leads started coming in straight away, like after a week or something, and I was like, hell yeah, this is working. I want to get deeper into this. This guy is legit. This guy has a system that's working, and then that obviously creates trust not only in your system but also in my abilities.
Exactly.
And creates trust that your offer has a demand and that your offer is helping people and that people are interested in it. And I think that's beautiful, because if you create something that's so deeply part of what you believe in and your identity, then seeing that resonance on the other side is the biggest proof that what you're doing is that you're on the right track, even though you still have quite a way to go. And that's the same in my case.
Exactly. But it also makes marketing, I would suppose, much easier, right? Because it just becomes an extension of yourself. Like the essence of marketing is making known. So whatever you do, you make it known to the world. And now you just get into this flow. Like, I believe this, I have results on this, I'm helping people with this. And your marketing just becomes a good way of like not promoting it in like the, I would say, negatively loaded way, but more like sharing. And that if the right, it's like honey, like the right insects will come to it, and the other ones that do not like honey are like, not for me. They go shop somewhere else.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's so hard. Like I said earlier, like marketing for other people or other products is so easy. Helping other people is so much easier than helping yourself, right? And marketing your own personality almost like requires for you to be super sharp on it. Because otherwise you're also going to be drifting back and forth and not having specific messaging, right? And that's why it's so important to like get this clarity about what you want to do and what you want to offer and what you want to change and what's the impact. You want to have it crystal clear, and then it's much easier to articulate that.
Yeah, nice, man. What would you say to a fellow coach, like watching this video, like listening to what we discussed? What would you say to someone like that who's on the fence about potentially joining the program?
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, what we do is we sell shortcuts. You can get there yourself, but it's going to be a bumpy, long-ass road that maybe will lead into a couple of dead ends until you actually, get onto the highway. And that's the same for almost all good coaching programs. I think coaching programs are the shortcut to the highway. It's still going to be work. It's still going to make yourself, you will still have to face yourself and still have to put your ego aside and be humble again and become a learner again. But it's going to get you there much quicker. And results, in the best case, are somewhat guaranteed. And if you do it by yourself, it's not guaranteed at all. And that shortcut, no matter if you get that in the gym or with finding your purpose or your career or, figuring out lead acquisition on LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. that shortcut is worth a lot of money, because at the end of the day, it's going to save you so much time that you can then in the best case, invest into actually serving people and helping people, and then make money in return. And at the end of the day, for most coaches that do your program, they probably have to sign one client, and the return on investment is there.
Exactly. Nice, man. Appreciate that you sharing. So to wrap things up, another, I would say, quick fire. This one is even shorter. What would you say are 3 words you would use to describe working together?
With you,
Yes.
no bullshit, proven system, and I think also like maybe I can call it authentic results, because let me explain the last one is because what you do is you, like we talked about already, you don't tell people like sleazy sales techniques, but you actually like help them find their own voice and become an authority figure, and then attract the right people for them. And I think that's so authentic and so in line also with my values. And yeah, that's why like so many other kind of like sales techniques or stuff that I see online, no matter if that's a guru like Hormozi or other kind of people, a lot of times like I'm thinking not for me. And yeah, I just want to be true to myself, true to my values. And because I think we share a lot of values, it was very obvious that this is going to work out.
I love that, man. And especially how you casually dropped in the name of the program in your answer.
True.
That's I think the branding is on point there with you
Yes.
mentioning authority figure.
Yes.
That's amazing, man. So thanks a lot for your insights. Thanks a lot for your honesty. I enjoyed working together for the last 3 months, and yeah, I'm super stoked to see how we can accelerate things for you and really get the business off the ground and just expand building on that. So thanks so much for your time and energy today.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for all the wisdom that you keep spitting on a weekly basis. It's helping me a ton, so appreciate it.
That's what we do. We don't stop, right?
Exactly. Let's go.
All right. Awesome.